Welcome to Solopacker podcast. My name is Aygul Kubatbekova, and I am the host of the podcast. So, our today's topic is solo female traveling as an Eastern European in South Asia, particularly in India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. And our guest speaker today is Virag Szabo. Virag
Hi.
Szabo, she's an amazing. Yeah. Hi, Virag. How are you today?
Hi, Aygul. I'm fine, thank you. And you?
It's good to see you. It's been such a while since I last saw you. I just remember you. You're so such a kind person and so open-minded. We've met like about 3 times, I think, in a few years time span in Kyrgyzstan, and every time I met you, you were more and more excited about your traveling, and then I've been following you since on Instagram and all your adventures, so I'm really excited to hear about you.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So we met.
Can you tell us about yourself?
Okay. So yeah, we can. So we met in Kyrgyzstan, and the second time we met, I started a big trip of 1 year and a half. I started it in Kyrgyzstan, and that trip was 1 year and a half. So I started in Kyrgyzstan, going down overland to Iran, and then I spent a long time in South Asia and then Southeast Asia, and then I had to go back to Europe in March due to the coronavirus.
Yeah, how did it all start? I mean, the first time I saw you, you were still working full time, and then how did you come up with an idea of doing such a long traveling? Yeah, and then choosing the country that you chose, and Pakistan or Bangladesh, those are not very popular countries. Even in India, as a solo female traveler. So, in general, how did you come up with an idea of traveling? Why did it all start? How did it start? And why those countries?
So it started in Kyrgyzstan because that was my first longer trip to Asia. That was 3 years ago, and there I met a lot of travelers who had been traveling for a long time, coming from Europe, cycling or with a car, and that was really inspiring to me because I didn't know that it was possible. So then I thought, why not? My job was going to finish in 1 year, and I was thinking of going on a longer trip then. And then I started in Kyrgyzstan again because there was an event called the World Nomad Games. Which is an amazing event in Kyrgyzstan, and that's where we met again. That's where I started my long trip. And the direction, I didn't have any idea which way I wanted to go. I prefer the countries that are not very popular, not very visited by tourists. So I always wanted to go to Pakistan or Bangladesh. It's just I never knew when it was going to happen. So the Pakistan came because they changed the visa requirements. They introduced the electronic visa, so it was much easier to apply for a visa when I was going there. So that made it easier to go there.
Okay. So, before you started the trip, did you have any stereotypes or any fears or something that you were concerned about?
So about hitchhiking, I did a lot of hitchhiking in Europe, but somehow it was in my brain that, oh my God, I'm in Asia, so it is different, but it turned out to be not that much different. So I started hitchhiking in Kazakhstan, and then I went all the way down to Iran by hitchhiking via Uzbekistan and Tajikistan. So I did have some kind of preconceptions, And also about Pakistan, like I read about a girl who hitchhiked in Pakistan, and I was like, really? Like, how? But then I
Right.
hitchhiked for 3 months in Pakistan, so it was like the easiest thing that I have done.
Oh, you mean like it was the easiest country to hitchhike in Pakistan, really?
Yeah, so well, I would compare it to maybe Oman, which was also very easy. But in Pakistan, I had it happened to me that I was by the road, and people just stopped and picked me up. So I didn't actually have to actively hitchhike or put my hand up or my thumb or something. Sometimes I didn't have to do anything; they just stopped and picked me up.
Oh wow! So it also took you the less amount of time, like to hitchhike in Pakistan, is it?
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah. But that, I mean,
Okay.
that depends on a lot of things. Like, I was in the mountains mostly, and yeah, whenever I am in the mountains or someone is in the mountains, I think it's easier because there's normally like one bigger road, and people are just nicer because they know that it's, I don't know, there's not much public transport going on, and yeah.
So you're in the mountains. You're totally alone camping.
Yeah, I did a lot of camping, yes, but not always on my own. So, but yeah, it depended on the circumstances. So sometimes on my own, sometimes there were other people around me camping. Sometimes I went with a group to travel. So, yeah.
So when you were alone, like you were completely alone in the mountains, camping in your tent?
Let me remember. Yeah, there were some times when I was on my own, like completely on my own. Yes, yeah. But then other
It
countries
wasn't
as well.
scary.
No.
Like you didn't hear of wolves, for example, or I don't know, any wild animals in the mountains.
No. So in Kyrgyzstan, I got used to that stuff. So while camping in the mountains, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, local people always tell you that, like, be aware of the, I don't know, wolves or elephants or, yeah, snakes. So that there are animals. It's just, I don't know. I'm normally more scared of people coming. But if it's in the middle of nowhere, there's not much chance that people will come.
I see. Well, it seems like, like, I don't know. I think I mean, I travel as well, for the past 5 years, I've been solo female traveling, but I cannot imagine myself camping somewhere in the mountains all alone. I think I'll just creep out. But did you have maybe any like bad experiences when you were camping or hitchhiking or I don't know, during your traveling?
Yes, there are bad experiences. Like, when I was hitchhiking in Iran, there were a few people who wouldn't understand when I said no. So they were very sexual, like they were saying inappropriate jokes and asking inappropriate questions. So and I was like properly dressed, like they could see nothing of me. I had all the headscarf, the long manto on, and I don't know. Then there were some situations when I wanted to get out of a car. Yeah. But or in Pakistan or India, some people just touch you by accident.
So how did you react?
Well, to be honest, sometimes I'm really shocked. Like when they accidentally touch me, I think that it's really by accident, and then later I think about it and oh yeah, maybe that was not an accident. So but the hitchhiking thing, I get really angry, so I just want to get out of the car, and sometimes I start shouting, and yeah, because I want to seem powerful. I am powerful. I want to seem powerful, so they understand me and respect me.
And usually it works. Like if something like that happens, you just start screaming, asking to stop the car. They stop the car, and then you get out.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
that
see.
has worked so far. How about
Mhm.
you? Did hitchhike in Iran too?
Yeah, yeah. I also had actually quite similar experience to you as well. Like yeah, very sexual questions and unnecessary touching. Yeah, I had a few experiences as well. Not very nice experiences in Iran also. Yeah, as a hitchhiker.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would also think that Pakistan would be quite similar to Iran, or like.
Well, Pakistan is a very interesting country. So the west side would be similar to Iran, I would think, but the east or the bigger cities, it's a country somewhere between Iran and India, I think. So in a lot of different ways. Yeah, and I was in the mountains, and to be honest, in the mountains, people are quite different. But I don't want to make this kind of I don't know. I don't want to separate them in this way. So there are a lot of people who gave me lifts who were from the south of the country, being a tourist in the north. So I don't want to make this distinction that people are different in the lower parts and in the mountains, but they are different in other ways. Like their languages are different, their culture is different, even their religion can be different. So yeah, I don't want to say that these people are nicer, and because I have very good experiences everywhere.
Yeah, there are good and bad people everywhere.
Yeah.
But in one of your Instagram posts, before you had long hair, but then you just shaved in one day. Yeah, can you tell me more about it?
Oh man, yeah, this is a very complex story. Well, the main reason is that my hair started falling because of my different diet, I think. Because in India, I spent 2 months in India, and I only ate like vegetables and stuff. So it might have been because of this kind of diet, but I am not sure still. So my hair started falling, and I always wanted to do that, to have no hair. But when you are working, it's not that easy, because you get the stairs, you get the, I don't know. Yeah, so I decided that it's a good time and place to do that. And I was also very interested about the reactions, because I had very long, quite light hair, nearly blonde, and the stares that I got were like very sexual. And when I shaved my head, a lot of things changed. Okay. So that was a amazing experience. I mean, obviously it's really sad that it makes a difference what kind of hair someone has, but they were more, the stares changed to curious stares instead of stares, which was, I liked it. Like, people were interested in me. They wanted to ask me questions, like, why did you do that? Or like in India, they didn't ask me questions because they are used to people being bald because of Buddhism. So
they just assumed you were a Buddhist.
Yeah. Although I had a negative experience with that, because someone actually believed that I was an ashram tourist. Like, they're okay. So people have some kind of judgment about tourists who just spend some time on work away, and they think they don't contribute and to the economy of the country, and I had people judge me because I had short hair, and they assumed that I was spending years in ashrams, and I don't know. Yeah, I had some negative experiences.
Like, what did they do? Like, how?
They assumed that I was gonna use people, like couch surfing and that kind of stuff, that I don't care about the culture. I don't know. To be honest, I don't understand because I don't think like that. That I look at a
Mm-hmm.
person and okay, it looks like he looks like this or that, so he must be like that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that was
Right.
strange.
Mm, I see. But apart from that, it was a worthwhile experience.
Yeah,
Shaving your head.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, very nice experience. A lot of curiosity. I like to make people think.
Okay. Yeah. That's a good idea, by the way. I'm not sure if I'll be brave enough, but something
It
to
goes
keep in
fast.
mind. Yeah. Yeah.
At this night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, how long have you spent in each country? Like if you compare India and Pakistan.
Hmm. In Pakistan, I spent 3 months. In India, well, I kept going in and out of India, so maybe around 3 months. No, maybe 2 months. Between 2 and 3 months, and in Bangladesh 1 month.
Was it okay? Like crossing like between the countries? Like I know that there's a little bit of tension between India and Pakistan. So with you
No,
crossing the
it
border?
was okay. It was
Oh, it
okay.
was.
So the border between India and Pakistan is a very popular border because there's also
Hmm.
a border ceremony taking place every day.
Oh, what kind
So
of ceremony is it?
yeah, it's like it's a huge event. So so people gather on both sides. So that's the kind of the only time when they can see each other, see people from the other country. And there's like I'm not sure what it's called, like a military parade. So yeah, you should check it in Wikipedia, and there's also like films about it. It's a very interesting event.
I haven't heard about it, but just a question. It might be a silly question, but are citizens of Pakistan not allowed into India and vice versa?
Yeah, that is a very interesting and sad fact. So
Oh, okay.
so it's, I mean, they need to have some kind of a special permission to go to the other country, and like if Indians go to Pakistan, they can only go to a few cities, so they can't go to the north. Like the north part that I was in for 3 months, it's a disputed territory. So on Google Maps, it belongs to India, but well,
Kashmir, I mean.
but it does not belong to India. So when you're there, it's obvious that you are in Pakistan. Like there's no question about it.
Are you talking about Kashmir?
Well, it's called Gilgit-Baltistan, but it's like a similar territory to Kashmir. But it definitely belongs to Pakistan. So the people there identify as Pakistani people.
Oh, I see. Mm-hmm. How would you describe Pakistani people?
Okay. Difficult question, because yeah, they are so different. Like these countries are huge, and you know, like so there are deserts, there are mountains, there are I don't know, so many different landscapes and different types of people, different languages, different traditions. So
Maybe
it's
some
very
things
difficult.
that you liked and you didn't like.
Hmm.
Maybe let's start with things that you liked about the country.
Yeah, so I mostly talk about the north, the mountainous parts, because that's where I spend most of my time. So I really liked the way people invited me to their houses all the time, or they invited me for tea, for some bread, that kind of stuff all the time. So, I mean, obviously you need to go to that kind of places where it's more remote and people are happy to see new people come. So, yeah, I had I kept sleeping at people's houses and, learning to cook food with them and learning about their traditions, how they spend their lives, where they live. Like, the new generation, they go to universities and they study a lot. I met a lot of people who spoke English, which is pretty amazing for remote parts of a country.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the education and the English, it's really cool.
I see.
So I like that very much. What would be the negativity? So I met some people who were not that welcoming. So who invited me to go with them for like a few days for a trip, and then they wouldn't speak to me in English. They were perfect in English, but they would speak in Urdu among themselves, and they wouldn't speak in English, and they wouldn't care about me, which was very strange to me because I was thinking maybe I'm very used to people being so friendly to me that it's I'm overreacting. But then I realized that I also would do the same. Like I would be kind with people who would come to my country, and I would invite them and I would go with them. I would explain things to them. So yeah, there are all kinds of people. Yeah. Other things, probably the cleanliness. So if people are used to different standards, like European standards, or like the toilet situation, or there's frequent stomach problems there to be had, or other thing is the police. We had I had problems with the police, and other tourists that I know had problems. So yeah, it's a disputed territory. So they kind of assume that everyone is a spy who doesn't follow the tourist path.
Right.
And I don't follow a tourist path, so I just walk on in valleys, and I walk on the main road, and they think that it's suspicious. Yeah, it's difficult. Like they don't let you sleep at people's houses because they come at 10 o'clock in the night and they say like, "What is your intention?"
Oh wow.
It happened to me.
Oh really? How did it happen?
Yeah, it's well, there's a kind of a trend, like a pattern in these events. Like if someone invites you to their house, that's fine, until you go for a walk with them. Because if that happens, the whole village will know that there is a foreigner in the village. They will tell the police. There are agents. There are different kinds of people who would not like that kind of stuff happening. So they would come to the house, or they would call. Like we wouldn't know where they know the numbers from. They would call their numbers, my host's numbers, and they would ask them like, "What is this tourist? There's a tourist in your house. What is she doing there? When is she leaving?" Yeah, so they worry about some stuff. They worry about the tourists' safety, which is because of their reputation. So it's not actually for the tourist safety. It's because they don't want to lose their reputation. I mean, they don't want to be regarded as an unsafe country, and also they don't like the fact that someone can travel freely and someone can do anything. Like I went to this university.
Oh, so just to clarify, actually, those are police officers. Do they call the host in order to make sure that the tourist is safe, or to make sure, or because of their suspicions that the tourist might be a spy and they don't want the locals to invite foreigners? Both. Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah.
So what happened in the end? Like, did the host ask you to leave, or?
No. So to be honest, it turns out that most people, they don't like the police. So it's not just me who had I had some heated arguments with police officers, and it turned out local people fear them. So they want to comply. They want to say, yeah, okay, I will do what you say. But the police never asked me to leave. So it's just a conversation. They want to know more. They want to be sure that when I leave, I will go to the police station and say, yeah, I'm leaving. So they just want to know about the events, what is happening. Which is, yeah, I'm obviously I'm lucky because I've been traveling in countries where I can travel freely. And that part was very difficult because I'm used to being free, and it was very difficult to fight for this there.
Right. Well, how did you fight for it? Like, you just didn't go to the police station?
No, I did go to the police station, but then I started to argue with them. Like, I started to tell them that I would like to travel freely. There's nothing wrong with a female walking on the main road. Nothing's going to happen to me. I mean, obviously they think that it might happen because there is like a very, very slim chance. Yeah, so I always went there to the police. Okay, there was one time when I escaped from the police, but then I had to go somewhere quickly, so I didn't have time to deal with them. But I try to, next time I try to be kinder and more understanding. It was very shocking for me at first, and I had to admit that sometimes I was not very nice.
Oh well, that's part of traveling,
How about you? Have you encountered that kind of stuff in any country? This kind of treat?
Well, if it's concerning like local police officers, local authorities, I can't remember now at the top of my head, but as far as I know, I don't think so. Usually, if I get in this kind of situation, I pretend that I'm stupid. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. I smile, and usually they let me go. I remember it was in Russia. I was traveling at the time I was in Moscow, and then I didn't see that there was an underground. So I was supposed to go through the underground in order to cross the street, but I just crossed it. And then right away the police officer came to me and he was like, "Oh, you just broke the law. You were supposed to go underground, but you crossed the street." I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know." And I actually didn't know the underground, and then I was like smiling and I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm a student." I wasn't at that time. I already graduated, but I was like, "I'm a student, I'm so poor. I don't have much money, I didn't know." So first he was like, "Oh, the fact that you didn't know the law, it's like, it doesn't make you irresponsible. You're still responsible." But but after some, like trying to, "Oh, yes, that was my fault, but I didn't know. I accepted it." And I was like, "Okay, you can go." I was like, "Oh, okay, thanks." Fines, are quite expensive in Russia. Even in neighboring Kazakhstan, it's really expensive. So, yeah.
Yeah. In Pakistan, it's not like that. Like, sorry, you can cut this because I didn't know what I wanted to say.
No, it's okay. Yeah.
I forgot.
No, it's okay. You were talking about university, how you were planning to go to university.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to see what it is like. So in one of the big cities in the south, in Lahore, middle, I went to university, and that was very interesting. So they were very friendly. They let me go in. They let me join the classes. That was a film university. So there was an acting class and a photography class, which I really enjoyed. But in the north, in these disputed territories of Gilgit-Baltistan, I went to a university also. And they let me in, there was no problem. But after 3 days, I returned to the university. And after a few minutes of walking, the head of security came. And he told me that I was not allowed to be there. And my friend was taken responsible.
What? Your friend was taken? Oh,
taken responsible for that. So he was, he did the same thing as you. He apologized a lot, and sorry, I didn't know.
Oh, I
Yeah,
see.
we didn't know actually that it was.
Mm,
Yeah, we had to ask for permission. in
right.
advance.
I see.
Now
But
we know.
after, like, right before the quarantine, you came back from Pakistan, right?
Pakistan. I was last autumn, last fall in Pakistan. So
Oh, really?
that was a not long time now. So
Oh, okay.
I went to India then, and then to Bangladesh, to
Mm.
Myanmar, and then where was I? Thailand and Cambodia.
Oh, okay.
And
I
I
see.
flew back from
It's just
Cambodia.
you talk so much about Pakistan, when we have discussions there. So I was like, oh, she's already probably going to planning to move to Pakistan.
Well,
Yes,
I could be there. Like I was planning to be there in a month's time.
okay. And you're also learning Urdu, right?
Yeah, I'm learning Hindi actually because that's easier. I mean,
Is
easier
Hindi
to find resources.
is Hindi also popular in Pakistan?
Hindi in India, so it's basically they are very similar. I don't know the percentage, but they are basically the same language. So I'm learning Hindi that is spoken in India, and from that I'm hoping to learn Urdu as well. I already understand a few sentences, and if I see stuff written, I sometimes can understand it.
And why are you learning this languages in particular?
It's
Like
Duolingo.
Hindi, Urdu?
Why?
Why? Yes, why? Why not? I don't know, Spanish, Italian.
I already
or
speak Spanish.
Russian. Oh, you already speak Spanish. Okay. How about Russian?
I speak no, I would say I don't speak that much Russian, but that is also an important language for me. So I want to learn it, and also Kyrgyz language. But first, I wanted to learn Persian. But now I think it's very much useful to learn Hindi and Urdu because of the amount of people that speak it. So billions of people I could communicate with, and since Pakistan is my favorite country, I was thinking that when I go back to Pakistan, I want to be able to communicate with the police in Urdu.
In Urdu.
It take me more seriously then.
Probably they would. They would like, oh wow, she has spent so much time learning our language, and I bet it's really hard.
It's not that hard, but yeah, it's a new language.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to write it though. Only say it because I'm learning the characters that they write in Hindi.
Mm-hmm.
So the Arabic script is a bit more difficult for me. You have been to Iran, right?
Yeah. And it's it's like it's written backwards, the Arabic letters, not from left to right, but from right to left. But like traveling, do you think, in your case, traveling without knowing the local language, was it a big problem for you?
No, but obviously it would be better if I could speak the language. So
did you have any maybe funny situations or misunderstandings because of the language?
All the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult. Like when I hitchhiked, even in Kazakhstan, in the countryside, no one, even sometimes they didn't speak Russian. So yeah, it is difficult. It's like you speak with signs, and you don't understand. You don't get to know a lot about the culture or that kind of stuff. Only what you see with your eyes, how they live, but you don't get any explanation.
I see. Yeah. Because I remember, for example, in my case, I was in China at that time, and I remember I was really hungry. It was quite late. Well, maybe it was around 8 or 9 p.m. And in Chinese, like there's this word baozi. Baozi means like dumplings, and baozhi means newspaper. But at the time I was just learning the language, so I saw that there was a place where they sell these dumplings, and I asked them, do you have baozhi? And then they thought that I was asking for newspaper, And they started looking around. I was like, what are they looking for? They were just looking on the ground. I was like, oh my God, I just want dumplings. And then finally they were like, sorry, we don't have. I was like, over there. They're like, no, we don't have. I was like, oh, what's wrong with these people? And only later I realized that I was actually asking for a newspaper, not the dumpling.
Yeah, I heard similar stories in China. But my tactics was showing pictures on my phone. like in Thailand, there are these water dispensing machines, and you put like a coin in, and there's a 1 liter or 2 liters of water coming out. So I could fill my water bottle with that. But I never knew where these machines were, so I always asked for them from people. And sometimes they didn't understand, so I just took one photo and then I was showing that around. Where is this?
So do you think it's important to have internet connection while you're traveling, like do you always get a local SIM card?
Yeah, it is important, but also sometimes I spent weeks without internet. So it's important. It can be important. Like in India, I had a situation when there was they stopped the internet. Like there was no data, there was no Wi-Fi working for 1 week because there was some kind of uprising, and that was very difficult because I didn't have a map, I didn't have connection with local people, I didn't know where to go. I didn't know where I could go where there was internet, so I could tell my family that I was alive. So it can be difficult. That time was difficult. I had to leave that place so I could find some other place with internet. Yeah, but sometimes, like in Iran, I don't know about your experience, but I didn't have very good internet connection in Iran, so I couldn't access those pages that you're not supposed to access. That are banned, like Facebook and stuff. So I only posted like when I have a blog, and I only posted 1 post in 3 months, I think, in Iran, because I found it too time consuming to find an opportunity to. Yeah,
I see. Well,
I think it's not that important. Only like once in a week, if you want to tell your parents that you're alive, or like to find some information.
Well, I think if you're like traveling somewhere in the mountain valleys and mountains, it's not important maybe. But in my case, I do go hiking, but I usually combine it with exploring the city. And in my case, it's actually like last 5 years, the first 3 years, I usually didn't buy the SIM card, but during the last 2, I always buy a local SIM card, even if I'm in the country just for 1 week, and it actually helps me a lot. If I need to book a hostel, for example, I usually, because I don't do it in advance, I just do it on the day that I know I'm going over there, so I just do it on the way. Or if I want to look up something, if I want to Google Translate, for example, because in my case, everything happens kind of last minute. I don't pre-plan everything, so I don't know. In my case, internet is like so useful. So I always get a local SIM card if I have a chance.
Yeah, I also do. So I actually regret when I don't. In Thailand, it happened to me. I didn't get a local SIM card, and I bought a bicycle to cycle to Cambodia, and I wish I had bought a SIM card because I had a lot of problems. On the first day, I broke my phone. I couldn't pump the wheels. My stuff was falling off my bike, and a lot of stuff happening. And also, it was a time when the coronavirus was spreading, so it was difficult to. I actually did check the internet from I have a British SIM card in my phone, so I did check it very quickly to see if there's any news.
I see. Well, do you think before you started traveling for long term, right, like for several months at a time, do you think changed you in some ways?
Yeah, very much. Yeah, to be honest, I don't know. I grew up in Europe, and in my country there's not much diversity. So things like seeing people who look different from you or who practice a different religion. I mean, I am not religious, but yeah, culturally, I'm in a Christian country, and it was very new for me to see that. Like I lived in London, and when I moved there, I learned a lot about different cultures, different religions, different appearances, different skin colors, all that. That was completely new for me. And when I went to Asia, I learned a lot about religions firsthand. So for me, it was an amazing experience. I had no idea about, very, very, very long stories like why people wear headscarf or, this kind of stuff that are very personal, and it depends on the actual person and a country and the culture and the family. So I did learn a lot of things, and a lot of very important things that could be done better in Europe.
For example,
let's say the wasting of energy. Like, let's not waste that much. Like, I don't know, in the mountains of Pakistan, they obviously they also don't have electricity to use because they have load shedding, so they stop the electricity at certain times of the day. But also they don't use that much, so they use fire to cook or gas, and they don't have fridges, which is obviously it's a inconvenience, but it also made me think that life can be lived in such a more environmentally friendly way. Or things like, I don't know, it's like a hygiene thing, like not using I don't know, like toilet paper and
just use water.
Yeah, I think it's also very it's a cool idea, but it's a long one. It's a long topic.
Do you practice it?
No, I can't practice it now because I don't have the water in the toilet.
You can always get a jar. You can get a jar with water. I think you can find jar in Hungary.
I have my water bottle.
Cool. So it's a multi-purpose bottle. You should do a masterclass in Hungary. First, start with your family. This is not just a bottle. This is a multi-purpose bottle, and let me tell you how.
Yeah, actually, now that you mention it, it was actually very shocking to come back here and see how much waste they produce here. So, because I lived in London, like the recycling is much better there, or people are more, they try to be more environmentally conscious. But here, I don't want to say words, but it's very difficult. That like the plastic bottles. I mean, that is everywhere. Like I can see that everywhere, unfortunately, not particularly here in Europe. But yeah.
So, how traditional is your family? How conservative are they? I don't know, like, were they okay with you, like, going for a long time for traveling? And yeah,
they are not conservative at all. So, but it's more like they are worried about me because they never traveled themselves. Like, yeah. So for them, it's like we are always afraid, or we don't know anything about those kind of faraway places. So I guess when you have a child, you don't want her to go to the other side of the world and be helpless, and when you can't help her.
So let's say that you, like, as you are traveling, let's say you decided that you want to get married with somebody from India, I don't know, Bangladesh or Pakistan. Like, how do you think they would react?
Nothing special. So they don't really care where the person is from. It's just I guess it would be difficult if I moved to that country actually, like because of the distance and the expensive flights, for example. So that, and they have never been abroad. I mean, they visited me once in London after 7 years, and that was the first flight for my mom. So they're not. I can't imagine them visiting me, to be honest.
Right.
So it's yeah, it would be a bit difficult.
So let's say that I don't know, if your husband decides to move to Hungary to live with your family, and then if he happens to be a Muslim who prays 5 times a day, would it be okay for you?
Well, that would be a bit strange. Like how to say that? Yeah, I don't want to say that I wouldn't be with that person, but I tend to be with people, or tend to be closer with people who are not that religious.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't, to be honest, I can't picture that someone would find it important to pray 5 times. Well, I don't know. I just can't imagine it.
Oh, not even you. Even I cannot imagine it. I mean, I live in a, Kyrgyzstan is predominantly Muslim country, so yeah, even for me it would be hard to imagine.
But do you have?
Yeah.
I mean, do you know people that pray 5 times a day?
Yeah, of course I do. I mean, most of our relatives are Muslim, and some of them actually. One of my grandmas. She is a very dedicated Muslim. She prays 5 times a day. She started learning Arabic when she turned 70. And I was like, wow, that's like, that's actually, for me, it's like, wow, So, I mean, I'm also not a religious person, but I was really admiring at her that even at that age, she was still like trying to learn something new,
Yeah, that is amazing.
Yeah. So how are you spending your quarantine days now in Hungary? Are you guys are not in a lockdown, right?
Well, not completely. So we are allowed to go outside now, but only for necessary things. It's not like a set rule, but we are supposed to take care of each other. And yeah, sometimes I go outside, go for a hike, go for a ride in the car, or that kind of. Not far away yet. I might go soon in a few weeks, but not. I mean, I will stay in my country, and yeah, I'm trying to learn new things. Like I just completed yeah. I started baking with sourdough, and I learned some more about photography and programming, and the languages. Languages are very important, and instruments, guitar and ukulele.
Oh yeah, actually, it's. Do you agree with me? I think that it's very handy to know how to cook, to know how to play an instrument, and to speak another language when you travel.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
How
always
about
like.
you? Are you doing that?
Well, yeah, I've learned lots of cooking. Yeah, during my quarantine, I'm also planning still to take a few komuz classes. Komuz is a traditional Kyrgyz instrument.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually graduated music school with piano. I played piano for 7 years. Yeah, so I think playing komuz, even though it's very different, like it shouldn't be too hard for me because, coming from a music background. So yeah, and I've been practicing my Spanish and Chinese also. So maybe next time we can have a podcast in Spanish with you.
I haven't been practicing that.
So we've talked about Pakistan, we've talked about India. Bangladesh, actually, I haven't heard much about. I've met some Bengali people. They were very friendly, very hospitable when I was in the US. But yeah, usually I think we don't hear much about Bangladesh.
Yeah, so well, the only thing that I had heard about Bangladesh before going there was that it's a very densely populated country. Like there are
Mhm.
so many people in a quite a relatively small country.
Mhm.
So to be honest, I was not in the mood to go there because I wanted a quiet time and peace, and I knew that I was not going to get it in Bangladesh.
Mhm.
And the other thing that I had known about it is that women are not treated that well, and that they were not supposed to be outside of their houses, and that was such a misconception. Like it's not like that. So
Oh, it's not like that. Oh, so
no,
women.
not at
Oh,
all.
okay.
So
Mm.
I mean, obviously it's very different in the countryside, but the people I met, I spent a long time in the capital. I met a lot of girls who ride motorbikes, and some
Oh, wow.
some doctors who travel on the motorbikes around the country to educate the children about sexual health, or to teach. They teach self-defense. So I met some amazing ladies.
I was just gonna ask, those women who ride the motorbikes, like, how are they perceived by men? Like, even here it would be unusual, but in Bangladesh, I think even more.
It's a new thing, so things are changing.
Mhm.
I mean, I mean, obviously I can't have knowledge about it. I don't know what it was before. I only spent 1 month there, so I can't say these things. But what they told me was that it is changing. And also in Pakistan, where I met ladies who, who are personal trainers, who are swimming instructors, who are dentists, who ride motorbikes, bicycles. Yeah, so it's I think it's a new thing, and it's the situation of the women is improving in these countries. Especially Bangladesh was amazing to see, because all the things that I had read about it was really bad. But what I saw was amazing, and there were no tourists. Like the only tourists that only white people, or different people that I have seen were people who were actually there, like who lived there and worked there, in NGOs or teachers.
Okay. When you were traveling, did you try to did you have a preference for staying in which community, or like you just stayed wherever? And did you have an opportunity maybe to stay in a Christian community, in a Buddhist community, in Muslim community, and then maybe see the difference?
Yes, I did stay in all of these, and well, I didn't see much difference. Like people are so similar in some ways. Like they are kind everywhere. They follow their religion, but it was never forced. I was always a tourist, and they respected me for what I was. They respected my beliefs. Yeah, they are proud of their community most of the time, and but I didn't feel not welcome or not accepted and respected.
I see. Do you want to share with maybe 3 tips to keep in mind as a solo female traveler?
Okay, so well, make sure that you always listen to your intuition. Like if you feel, if you're hitchhiking, or if you're in someone's house, and if you have a feeling that it's not okay, something is not okay, it's not your fault. So you can say no, you can leave, you can say goodbye. It's okay to not feel safe. It's okay to accept that the situation is not going well, and it's okay to leave that situation.
Okay.
Other tips? Well,
that's a good one. Yeah, because sometimes I think you kind of feel, I don't know, uncomfortable or maybe guilty, and then you stay, and then you suffer, and the other people suffer. But yeah,
Exactly.
for everyone.
When you don't want to be a burden, but you're still being a burden by staying. Yeah. So that, and also be open to everything. Say yes to a lot of things. Like if someone says that's what I do. If someone says let's sit on the top of a bus or top of a passenger van, I would say yes, because it's a one-time experience and I would remember it forever. So think about it. Is it a unique experience and will it stay with you for all your life? And then
Just say yes.
Yeah. What else? I need to think of a third thing.
Can you share with some of your unique experiences, maybe?
Yeah,
Had you ridden on top of the bus?
Yeah. So in Bangladesh, I did climb up on top of a bus with some friends and travel there, but not for a very long distance. So it was like
Is it legal?
10 or 20. Yeah.
Oh.
They do that all the time.
Okay.
On the bus, on the train. Yeah. I mean, obviously, you can see the man-woman difference there. So women wouldn't do that. So people were staring at me like I'm an alien.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, obviously they were staring at me like that anyway because they don't see tourists that much.
Right.
And in Pakistan, I traveled on top of a passenger van. Can I say the third?
Oh, sure.
I think it's very important to try to be a conscious traveler and try to think of the environment. Like if you can do something in another way, try to do it. If you can do it not buying plastic bottles, do it. Things like that. Don't throw your stuff.
So the first one was listen to your intuition. So when you want to say yes, say yes. When you want to say no, say no. Right? The second one, say yes to unique experiences. Something that you will never forget and will stay with you for the rest of your life. And the third one, be a conscious traveler. Right? Yeah. Don't waste. Don't. Just
think about your impact
right.
on the local community.
Just take pictures and leave only the footprints, right?
That is amazing. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it was really nice chatting with you, Virag. Nice catching up.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot for being our guest today, and for inspiring. Now, actually, I'm thinking like, oh, maybe I should go to Pakistan next. That's Virag's favorite country. So there must be something there. So. Yeah, it was good. So,
well, thank you so much for inviting me.
And by the way, maybe you can also tell us about your Instagram account. So for our listeners, whoever wants to follow your adventures.
Oh yes, so I have an Instagram account and a Facebook page. They're both called Viri's Travels. Viri is my nickname. It's spelled VIRI''S. So my travels, Viri's Travels.
Yeah. So I'm one of your followers, and I recommend everyone to follow Virag adventures. Yeah. So yeah. So thank you, and we'll keep in touch. I'll keep following you.
Thank you. Me too.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.